Hey YouTube. So I am currently recording this video in my bedroom. Um, you can see we have turquoise walls and a couple pictures up, one of our wedding and one of our baby girl when she was 6 months old. And that's our vows in the middle, or the vows that my husband wrote for me. Really cool. Anyway, I am 37 weeks and 4 days pregnant today. I had an appointment yesterday with my doctor, and everything is looking awesome. We were a little concerned recently that he wasn't growing well enough or just enough at all because I was looking so tiny. My stomach was not measuring where it should be, which again, my doctor said, well, he's transverse, so um, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. But I was getting really concerned because I also wasn't gaining weight, and I was eating and resting and doing everything and still not gaining weight. Um, so we did an ultrasound, and it showed that everything was really good and normal. He had all his organs are growing correctly, and he's measuring correctly. He actually has managed to flip as well, we found out at the ultrasound. He's no longer transverse. He is now head down, ready to go in the birth canal. That's a pretty major move for him to make, from being like fully 100% transverse to turning and being in the birth canal. And my sister-in-law asked me, she's like, so didn't you feel it? Because you would think I would have felt something like that. And the only thing I can think of is that I remember one night I was sitting on the couch and I felt like this jab down like in my lower right side, pretty low. And I knew it was the baby. I knew he was moving or doing something, but it was painful. He was like jabbing at something. And so maybe that was when he moved. Maybe that was him working his way down there. But at my appointment yesterday, my doctor checked me, and I'm not dilated at all. My cervix is still closed. However, she barely had to put her finger up there, and she was totally touching his head. It is low, crazy low. And I never experienced this with my first pregnancy because my daughter was never in the birth canal. She was sort of diagonal, and her head was not quite in there. So I've never felt this before. This is crazy. The amount of pressure that I feel. Um, Literally, I just have to stand up and I have to pee, and sometimes it's not even, I don't really have to pee, or most of the time barely anything comes out. But yeah, so definitely a new experience for me having a second pregnancy, and I get to experience this for the first time. It's kind of exciting, but definitely not the most comfortable thing. But it has managed to make me look a lot bigger. I look more like uh, like I'm 37 weeks now. And yeah, he is measuring great. His head is actually measuring pretty big. Um, his head is measuring at 39 weeks. So a week and a half ahead. Um, ahead. That was really dorky. So, yeah, big heads run in my husband's family. So it's definitely another, it looks like he's getting that from my husband. My nephew, my brother-in-law's son, who's my husband's brother, his son has this like enormous head. So looks like my daughter didn't come out with very big heads, so it looks like this little boy he's going to get that part of my husband's side of the family. So anyway, everything else is measuring right on. It's just the head that's actually measuring above. Um, but yeah, everything else is measuring at like exactly 37 weeks. So there's no really denying my due date. It sounds like we were spot on with that because sometimes those can be off and you never really know. But yeah, so the big thing that this affects is when the cesarean is going to happen. When we thought he was transverse and thought he was like good to go in the transverse position, we thought we could schedule my cesarean for when I was 40 weeks because he wasn't going to move or put me into labor. But now that he is head down, we're back on to schedule it for 39 weeks because there's a good chance I could go into labor naturally with him in this position, and so we want to be on the safe side and have him at 39 weeks so that I don't go into labor. I could go into labor before that, and if I do, we would go to the hospital, obviously. But yeah, so we're back on for September 1st, which works out well because my mom had planned on flying down um, with that date in mind. And so she was looking at having to change her flight when we thought it was going to be a week later, and flight changes were super expensive, so she didn't change it. So actually, it works out better for the family, which is good. So now my mom can come on her original planned time and be with the baby longer, which is good. Um, but yeah, I was really happy to hear that he was growing and everything was fine. He's small, but nothing to be concerned about. He's probably like he's over 5 pounds right now, almost 6 pounds. That's obviously an estimate on the ultrasound, but that was what they put him at. So yeah, he's doing well. Really excited about that. No denying it's a boy. Got a good glimpse of the goods at the ultrasound again. And the technician was like, oh yeah, there's no denying it. There's no doubt. Or he said, no, without a doubt, this is a boy. So definitely no. But yeah, everything's going really well. So a very big update is that my sister-in-law, who I mentioned is also pregnant, and who was 2.5 weeks ahead of me, is in labor right now. Today is actually her due date, and she went into labor on her due date. Not sure when it started. I think it was in the night, but they called us at about 4 a.m. this morning and let us know that she was in labor. Her contractions were about 5 minutes apart, and they were going to head to the hospital. And so they needed to bring their son, Eli, over so we could watch him. So we said, bring him over, and they live like 5 minutes away, so they just drove really quick here, dropped him off, dropped off a bag of stuff that'll keep, have enough clothes for him and diapers for him for a couple days because we don't know how long we'll have him. But yeah, so that's super, super exciting. Last I heard, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, it was just going really slow. Her first pregnancy, she was in labor for 20 hours. So hopefully it goes faster this time. It's her second, so hope you hear those go faster. Excuse me. And so I hope for her sake that it goes faster. But in the meantime, I have two toddlers at the house while 9 months pregnant that I'm watching. You're probably wondering where they are right now. My daughter goes to a school 4 hours a day during the school year. In the summer, she was here all day. But her school has started again. It started yesterday. And so I took her to school at 9 this morning, and she stays until 1. And my nephew, who I have here with me, also goes to the school, but he only was going because my sister-in-law is a stay-at-home mom. He was only going to school like 2 days a week. And they hadn't started him back yet, and they didn't know when they were going to start him back. So I went ahead and took my chances and brought him to school with her, with Issa, with my daughter, and so asked if they wouldn't mind if he started today, even though they haven't really signed him up yet. They knew who he was. Obviously, he went to that school last year, so they said it was no problem. So luckily, they got to be at school today from 9 to 1. I'm going to pick him up in about an hour, which is great because it gave me time to relax and rest. Because basically from 4 a.m. when he came over at about 5 a.m. and didn't want to go to sleep. Which I mean, I can't blame him. There was like so much stuff going on, so much excitement, and he was tired for sure, but it was just not going to happen. We tried putting him down, but he screamed and screamed we let him go for like 7 minutes screaming, but my daughter was sleeping right across the hall, and we didn't want two awake screaming babies, so we decided to just pick him up and let him stay up. So that little boy is going to be tired when he gets home today from school because he has been going since like 5 a.m. But yeah, the morning was interesting. I got my daughter up about 7:30. She woke up, which is normal for her. And before she got up, I went ahead and got him completely dressed because I just knew if I were attempting to dress both of them in the morning, it might be a bit crazy. So he was completely dressed before she woke up. Um, got her up, took him into her room with me, and let him. There's tons of stuff to play with in there, so he played in her little kitchen, and I got her dressed right away. Which normally her and I have a lazy morning. Like normally we chill in our pajamas for a while, we have breakfast and play, and so this morning I was like, no, just we just got to get this going. So um, got her dressed right away, took them both downstairs, let them play, managed to make them eggs and bananas for breakfast. They both ate really well, played for a while, and yeah, and I walked them both to school, held their hands and walked them because it's right around the corner. Um, we'll see how this afternoon goes. My hope is that they both take naps at the same time. My daughter normally takes a nap at this time at like 1:30, so that's her normal time. So I'm already kind of expecting her to take a nap, but I'm fingers crossed. He usually naps a little earlier, like 12:30, but I'm thinking he's going to be so exhausted that hopefully he'll sleep. Hopefully he's not overly exhausted. We'll see. So that's the deal. Lots going on. 37 weeks and a little bit. 37 weeks and 4 days pregnant. Everything going well. We're having this baby on September 1st, which is in a week and a half, which is crazy. And yeah, and we have my nephew here. I'm currently 9 months pregnant. Well, eight and a half. 8.5 months pregnant and watching two toddlers. So we'll see how that goes this afternoon when I pick them up. Anyway, send good thoughts that they take naps. And then my husband will be home from work and he can wrangle them with me. So, anyway, that's it. Hope everyone's having a good day. Bye bye.